Hello. This is a very special Monday version of what are we? Business Pants. This is Free Float Media's Business Pants. I'm Damian Rollis. That's Matt Mascardi. I'm going to let Matt talk for a few minutes as I change my font size.
Oh man, unbelievable. How is everybody today? It is a businessy day. Mondays are always really, really packed with
Oh,
stuff.
I have to
Why is
rethink
that? What is
my
that?
life.
Is this
I
just,
think it's because here at Free Float Media we take Fridays off because we're important, and then we have 3 days of news to get through. That's why. That's what's going on.
Damien? I do want to tell you before we get started.
Yeah.
I put on a tie today.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I need to be more professional in my life. I spent a decade more wearing ties, shaking hands, feeling, being important. And then we create a media company and what, that all goes out the window? No, that stops today.
Look, I'm with you. And first, okay, I have a few things to add. Think about shaving,
No.
right? And second of all, that's all I had to say. I think that I need to. So I think what I'm going to do is I need to grow my beard out more. I
Okay.
need to really represent the opposite of you as much as I can, other than the fact that we're two dumb white guys. So I can grow out my beard, and I can maybe wear a hat. That's the best I can do.
If it's a Santa Claus hat, then it's a win.
Because you look smart, and I want to look even more disheveled. That's my goal in life in general.
It won't be hard.
You ready to start today's Business Pants, October 21st,
I am. It's October
2019?
21st. It is a new week. It's an exciting week, and we're going to kick it off big. Are we?
Uh, yeah. This big news out of Boeing.
So much energy coming out of you. It's like oozing.
I don't have my beverage today. I'm a little discombobulated. I had to watch my friend's dog this morning, and it's completely made me mental.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so this big news out of Boeing over the weekend regarding the even new and improved outcry, let's call it that, over leaked messages. Today, can I just say that today is our episode of leaks? I'm realizing. I think we should talk about, if not today, Sunday soon, how leaks are going to have what their effect is on this world that we're covering. But anyway, so there's leaked messages from a former test pilot over erratic software behavior on its 737 MAX jets. In the 2016 messages, then chief technical pilot uh, said that the so-called anti-stall system was running rampant
Ooh,
in
rampant.
a flight simulator session. And at another point he went on to make said that he basically lied to the regulators unknowingly. Wink, wink.
Unknowingly. Nice,
Yeah.
nice, like slide that in.
So the FAA has ordered Boeing CEO, right? Just CEO. He is not the
No,
chairwoman.
oh yeah. It was a sad moment last week when that happened.
And can we agree now to call, instead of calling it chairman, can we just call it chairwoman? You okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Is
so
there, is
everyone's a
there a problem
chair.
with chairperson? Why does it have to be a gender?
Well, son, well, isn't it chair per daughter? Does that work?
No, just chairperson.
Well, I did say,
How
I
about
was
chair
saying chair.
entity?
When I write, I say chair, but I just feel like calling Dennis Muhlenberg chairwoman for some reason. Is that? But
It's
he's
up to
not. He's
you,
not
man.
anymore. Anyway, so the FAA has ordered CEO Dennis Muhlenberg to give an immediate explanation for the delay in turning over the concerning document, which Boeing discovered many months ago.
Good for you guys.
So here's where we're at, Matt. Dennis is done, right? That's my first question. Or are they just going to strip his CEO title and call him president? Because as of a month ago, yes, he had three titles: chairwoman, president, and CEO. So is he going to become president? Is he going to become chief apology maker, or is he done?
I
That's
like
that's
that. I like that his punishment has been to strip him steadily of several of his titles. That's it.
yeah.
He
It's
didn't lose his
severe,
job.
it's effective, it hurts.
I mean, like, I'm hoping that at some point he can be a vice president in charge of shipping. And that will be like he steadily just works his way down in the company.
Do we
Um,
trust his ability to do that at this point?
I well,
What can he cover up in shipping that he What that he
So
didn't?
I want to give you some
Yeah,
context around
go
Boeing
ahead.
though, because I went back through some data as the do, um, and looked up the number of controversies that Boeing has had over the last decade. Basically, anytime Boeing gets called out for something they did wrong, I wanted to know in the last decade how many times it's actually happened. So it's happened 17 times in the last decade since 2008.
Okay,
Okay.
17 times that Boeing has been called out for something. That's what you're
Yeah, they
saying.
basically been yelled at for doing some dirty.
Okay.
That includes tax evasion, contaminated dumping.
I
Um,
do that every morning. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and lo and behold, the last 2 years have not been great when it comes to Boeing and controversies.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're making light of Boeing, but again, two very sad and deadly air crashes over the past year or two. Yeah. Go ahead.
But I wanted to understand this against like their chief competitor, which is Airbus,
Hmm.
um, because I wanted to think. Yes, we're yelling at Boeing right now, but is Boeing like by themselves? Is this a Boeing problem and Airbus is like squeaky clean? Fact is, over the last decade, Airbus has 19 controversies.
Okay.
They're
But how many involve over 300 fatalities though?
so that's where the comparison ends.
Right. Okay.
They have a lot of the same problems, like leaky stuff and terrible
I have
doodads,
that
and
problem too. Yeah.
they got they got terrible doodads and
Yeah.
leaky stuff. That's a
Okay.
problem across. Although Airbus did have fatalities, they were for its Tiger helicopter just a year or two ago. Because get this, while the Tiger helicopter was flying a peacekeeping mission, how one flies a deadly Tiger helicopter as a peacekeeper is always confusing
Yeah.
to me. But
Unless
flying a
I'm the pilot.
peacekeeping
Yeah.
mission, the actual copter part, like
Okay.
the what do you call it, rotors on the
Sure.
helicopter?
Yeah.
I'm an engineer. They fell off.
Okay. That's pretty important.
It seems like one of those oversights. So
And
the
can I just
things
add that in the top three list of most important helicopter parts, I think rotors came in at number one.
not so not cool headset with which they use
No,
in movies
not
to talk.
door, not, yeah. All right, keep going.
So Airbus is not without its share of problems. But here is where the comparison stops. Airbus, within 30 days of the rotors falling off of the helicopter, put a statement out saying, they went through, an investigation and they said, these are unsafe. Don't use these things.
Okay.
Until we fix them, pretty please stop using them.
Okay.
Boeing has managed to go several years knowing that this is a problem,
Yeah.
and they have issued approximately one apology according to our data. So,
Yeah. One
Dennis,
blanket apology. Yeah. Dennis.
maybe it's time we strip you back to vice president in charge of learning to apologize for stuff.
Okay. That's very, very eloquent
That's
title
where the
there.
data got me.
Okay. Can I add one bizarre and sad side nugget to this story? Am I allowed?
A side biz nugget?
Yeah. Did you know that consumer advocate Ralph Nader's grandniece died in one of these crashes?
I did not.
Um, which is a strange coincidence.
That's sad.
Yeah, and so
Way to be a Debbie
Na-
Downer in the middle of
I
fatal
know.
crashes.
So here's what Nader's calling for: the complete removal of Boeing CEO and the entire Boeing board of directors. You think we're on the path of that?
Yeah, over under. How long does that take?
God,
Next proxy season, he's got to be gone, right?
I think less. I think a month.
A month.
I was gonna say a week, but this is
Wow,
terrible. This is terrible. You like how
amazing.
you like how I now have to get my sound effect and place it up to the mic? That's how
That's your hand.
advanced we are. For those of you listening at home and are too cheap to watch us online, I just held up my sound effect to my microphone. All right. Let's move on to big data. Uh, we have to talk about Zuck Luther King Jr.'s speech he made last week, where he extolled the virtues of free speech and reminded those who were bothering to listen that his company is making the world a better place by giving everyone a voice and fighting to uphold as wide a definition of freedom of expression as possible.
I dare you to disagree.
I'm going to reserve my agreements or disagreements till the end of this. Okay, here's the problem, of course, and I'm stealing from a great article I read today in TechCrunch, is that Facebook doesn't really offer free speech. It offers free amplification. So the idea here is that no one would really care about anything you posted to Facebook, no matter how false and hateful, because if people had to navigate to your particular page to read your rantings, they're not going to find it, right? So because what you read on Facebook really is determined entirely by Facebook's algorithm. Okay, so it's a little bit different than free speech. Zuck went on to say that he is worried deeply about an erosion of truth, and that he doesn't think that people want to live in a world where you can only say things that tech companies decide are 100% true. He also said that these kinds of tensions are something we have to live with. So, Matt, I'm asking you, is this a free speech thing? Is this a big tech algorithm thing? Where are we on this?
Okay, so we should back up to the part where Mark Zuckerberg simultaneously says free speech is the thing to uphold and that truth, the lack of truth, is eroding whatever.
Yeah.
Because those two things live in conflict.
Sure.
This is all, doesn't this all strike you? You know, we talked pre-show about this in our pre-production meeting.
Yes, we do. We do meet before this. We actually do plan this. And by the way, can I just say, for those of you listening home, I apologize. Matt is using a beautiful green screen, unlike me. And I got to say that the quality, Matt, is stunning.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you look very professional over there.
Well, I look like everybody else on Twitch.
Meanwhile, this is what I'm doing. This is the level.
Damien just
host.
held up maybe the fattest cat I've ever seen.
It's completely untrue. I keep talking about Zuck. Sorry.
Okay, so this is all part of that platform argument. It also feels like, to go back to the pre-show conversation, does it feel like Zuck is drifting a little bit right on some of these issues?
It does feel this way. I mean, partly
I
because
don't want to politicize it, but it does sort of feel like that.
Well, the last policy change that we're all talking about was timed right after a meeting he had with Big Baby Trump. So that's maybe why we're thinking this, but it does feel this way.
He also, like, the idea of not watching political ads for truth effectively.
Yeah.
Is sort of skewed towards a conservative fringe ethos. Like that's where a lot of that non-truthy stuff comes from. Not to say that liberals are devoid of, non-truthy stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But theirs don't nearly go viral in the way the conservative stuff seems to.
Well, I think their audience is not easily manipulable. I completely butchered that. In the same way that Trump's audience is. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, it sounds crass, but I think it's
kind of true. But I want to ask you the question of the platform.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All of these tech companies basically claim that they are a platform. They're just content distributors. They don't make the content.
They're an empty slate or something.
And as a platform, it's not really totally their responsibility to sort of monitor what gets said. That seems to be the nugget of it's about free speech, right? Like, doesn't that? But this is the problem that Twitter has and Jack Dorsey has. This is the problem that Instagram sort of has, but less. Facebook definitely has. Like, they all claim this platform status that makes them exempt from, I guess, being truth deliverers of any kind or monitoring what gets said. But is that really a thing? Like, in the modern world, do we just provide, like, not even Reddit? The
Yeah.
Reddit like
4chan.
they segregate
Yeah.
off some of this stuff.
Yeah, I know, and I think this is why that TechCrunch article was really important. Is that they're not, and there's no way in any form that Facebook is an empty slate, right? I mean, they are developing algorithms to amplify what they've deemed to be the thing that should be amplified, right? This is not just a place to store your thoughts. It's a lot more than that.
And let me take it a step further because this is business pants where we put our business
Yes, this
pants
is
on.
business pants. Yeah,
Because there's social pants. That's some other show. Someone else is doing
yeah.
that.
Social shorts.
If we live in a world where corporations are basically moral arbiters, like
Mhm.
North Carolina passes a bathroom bill and corporations basically say no, they pull out. North Carolina changes the law back because of the corporate influence. At
Right.
what point do we say corporations will no longer advertise on Facebook? Do you cross a
Corporate.
threshold at some point? Because their revenue is ad revenue.
Right. So you're making this the point that the reason why they give a shit about this is that they need this ad revenue.
I
Like
think
this is
that's
the
it. I think it's
yeah
when the political parties basically all say this is untenable,
yeah.
that's when it changes.
Here's the good news, America and the rest of the world that's listening, is that Facebook is for old people, and those people are going to die. All right. I think you kind of hinted at a pretty good segue there, talking about North Carolina. Our next story in a new category that I created called Stakeholders Rule, and this is in contrast to CEO's rule because we
Ooh,
need a counterpoint here.
counterbalance. Look at
Yeah,
you.
because I think that the rise of stakeholders is probably an important thing to monitor, and this story exemplifies that. Uh, so we have something called meatless meat, right, Matt?
We do. I love it.
Do you think the world is ready for homophobic chicken? Um, it,
Hasn't it
it's
been for a
not.
while?
It has in America, but doesn't appear to be in the United Kingdom. So, notorious gay bashers Chick-fil-A opened its first location in the UK in early October, and a little more than a week later, the British shopping center leasing the location has already said it will not extend the restaurant's 6-month lease after facing pressure from a local LGBTQ rights group. I'm going to remind you that the Atlanta-based Chick-fil-A has faced criticism and boycotts for its past donations to anti-LGBTQ groups and CEO Dan Cathy's public comments opposing gay marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
So a win for stakeholders here,
Um,
it appears.
this actually isn't this the way Facebook changes? Like Chick-fil-A hasn't changed, have they? I get. Does this work?
No, adamantly not.
Yeah. Does this work?
Does what work?
Does this like? I don't know. It's not posturing, but it's kind of like. Does it work to basically pressure a company? So Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, holds a fundraiser for Trump. A bunch of companies that he owns, including SoulCycle, are called out in the press and by local organizations as, they feel pressure because people don't want to do business with somebody who's supporting Trump. There's a segment of the population who happens to be going to SoulCycle, apparently.
Yes.
SoulCycle didn't go out of business, did they?
No.
Chick-fil-A is
But-
a family-owned private company.
Yeah.
Do you think Chick-fil-A, they're sitting around being like, you know what, F the UK? And frankly, they opened where? In London, right? They're like,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm
but
pretty
yeah.
sure they can go 20 miles outside of London and find some homophobes who are cool with this.
Yeah, the Brexiteers will be happy to eat homophobic
That's
chicken.
that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not sure it works. I'm not
Well,
sure it's
I
a
guess-
win for stakeholders. I mean, it feels like a small victory in a large war of that corporations are waging with culture.
Well, I think you're right. I think in the bigger picture it doesn't work, but I think that this is sort of the game of stakeholders, right? Is that depending on the group of stakeholders, in this case, it was a very localized group of LGBTQ rights supporting stakeholders. It does work, right? I mean, I think they would call this a big victory for them. I mean, in my neighborhood, there was a local corner store was trying to be taken over by Dunkin' Donuts, and the neighborhood basically was like, "We don't want you," and they managed to make that happen. And does it affect Dunkin' Donuts? No, but it does affect the neighborhood. So is that something, right?
that that is
I'm
the
just trying to. I'm
smallest
trying to
possible.
pour a little water over your sad pessimism
I just,
because
like, look,
yeah,
for stakeholders, it's largely not about the almighty dollar. That's the thing with
right,
stakeholders, right? It's about
yeah.
individual
That's
rights, or
that's an important point. Yeah.
it's usually about something else. But for
Right.
corporations, it is largely about where the money is. And it isn't until the money flips that the corporations flip.
You're right, but I think this is an important point of why, we might be entering sort of a stakeholders rule generation, right? I mean, because their pushback is not money centered, and if this is something that the millennials and other generations are more focused on, then maybe it will start to have a growing impact. Okay with that, Matt?
I like the idea of a stakeholder, the rise of stakeholderism.
Well, here at Free Float Media, we're going to be covering that. We're the only ones covering it. Let's go on to Biz
We have
Nuggets.
an
We got a bunch of
exclusive on that.
yeah, we do. Everything we do here is an exclusive. Um, and as you'll see later, we're going to have to fight back against people stealing our ideas. In Biz Nuggets, the first one is a great one. The Vatican has launched a $110 eRosary in a bid to encourage tech-savvy Catholics to pray. The wearable smart device links to an app designed to teach users how to pray with rosary beads and is activated by making the sign of the cross. So, Matt,
Wow.
I'm assuming you're wearing one now, Matt. Can we see it?
I am not, because I prefer that the Pope does not X-ray um, see everything that I'm doing. Which is better? Let's play a quick game.
Yeah.
Which is better? Mark Zuckerberg can read our thoughts. The Pope can read our thoughts.
Like a pope or the current pope?
Any Pope.
Any pope. This sounds. I mean, coming from an atheist, this might shock you. I'm gonna go. I'm pro pope on this one.
Pro Pope.
I am.
Well, you probably will avoid having to deal with it very much because you're not making the sign of the cross.
Oh, I don't even really know how to. It's like something like this, right?
It's an up, down, and it's a left or right. I grew up
There's a lot of
Italian
I didn't
Catholic
grow up. I didn't.
before
I did not grow up that.
giving up Catholic entirely. So I'm gonna agree with you. It's Pope all the way. I'm long Pope eRosaries.
Which you have been for several decades, anyway. I might add. As a follow-up to our story last week about CocaCola being voted the most transparent company last year, there are reports today over leaked audio. There's that word leaked again, which revealed how the company undermines recycling efforts despite its public image as an environmentally caring company.
So, quick reminder: 23 known subsidiaries, over $6 million in lobbying, left out of transparency reports. They've paid to influence research. They have many controversies about misleading sales, and their accounting is really aggressive. Add to the list, oops, we may not actually care about recycling. Congratulations, Coca-Cola. You are the winners of Transparency 2019. Can we contact the provider of that award and maybe slip them a note being like, is this really our bar? Is this our bar?
We can. They're called Forbes. I will say this, though. As a beverage to enjoy with Mexican food, you can't really go wrong with a nice Coke. So I think Coke wins, Matt.
In the end, it's all about the almighty dollar. Make it rain.
I was thinking it's all about Mexican food, but whatever.
Either way.
Johnson and Johnson, yeah, famous for its No More Tears baby shampoo, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what they're famous for in my head. So they are recalling 33,000 bottles of baby powder after health regulators found trace amounts of asbestos in samples taken from a bottle purchased online. That's a nice one.
So provide more tears baby powder.
How is it that so it takes health regulators to buy a bottle of baby powder online to discover that Johnson & Johnson is mixing in a nice little dose of asbestos? That's what we've come to?
Well, so we're talking about 33,000, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And unless that gets expanded, Johnson & Johnson has a history of recalls and recall problems. This I know.
Sure.
But this is a small recall by recall standards at 33,000. That's not the thing that should frighten you. The thing that should frighten you is the amount that they can't test. Because the fact is, all of these companies have such huge distribution networks globally with all of their products, and they have manufacturing everywhere. Quality assurance has got to be nigh on impossible. Like that, it was only a little bit of asbestos. We should be like, whoo! Could have been a lot of other stuff. Like,
I think what Matt's trying to say here is buy a towel or just go out in the sun and dry off. Right, Matt?
Yeah. Your baby, I have 3 children. Their hoo-haws are fine with a towel.
Here's my favorite story of the week so far. Okay, granted it's Monday, but this is probably going to be my favorite story for many weeks. Former WeWork CEO Adam Neumann. Yeah? Remember him?
I do. The Neumeister.
Planned for generational dominance. So another leaked bit of information here. Again, this has got to be the year of the leaks, right? I thought it was a year of meatless meat, but this has got to be the year of leaks. In leaked footage from a meeting and a speech given to employees in January, former CEO Adam Neumann said, and this is a quote, "It's important that one day, maybe in 100 years, maybe in 300 years, a great-great-granddaughter of mine will walk into that room and say, 'Hey, you don't know me. I actually control the place. The way you're acting is not how we built it.'" I mean, really, this is why this guy no longer has a job, and probably one of the reasons why the company's going in the toilet is that he openly planned for the company in the year 2319, right? That's good math, right? that the company would still be acting as how he built it now in 2019. That's what he thought was a great idea.
So it'd still be leasing properties to individuals.
Yeah, it'd still be dusty fans at like weird malls.
It would be large communal spaces in which we could have a beer.
Yeah. All right, I got one more story here, even though I just rang the bell. And we're going to get back to that because I love that. I love that quote. I love that 300 years from now, he wants his great-great-granddaughter to still control the company. But anyway, I wanted to add that we are now officially on the map because Mad Money Jim Cramer is stealing from Free Float Media.
How dare he?
Because if you remember, we were talking many months ago how Damian Rollis, thought that Fang was a joke and that we needed to take Netflix out of Fang and add Microsoft.
Wait.
For FAMGA.
We got to back up. FANG stands for Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, and Google.
Yeah, if you get the acronym right, I realize that you went to a lower level Ivy League. But if you're going to get the acronym right, it's Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. Right?
It's basically a acronym to explain the consolidation of big tech. And Damien has been arguing with me for months that Netflix doesn't make any sense in there. Chop it. and put in Microsoft. And first of all, FAMGA is a terrible acronym. Obviously,
Beautiful.
we can't do that.
Yeah.
Second of all, who cares?
All right, let's go into Damien cares, and so does Jim Cramer. Let's get into Matt's ball pit. We're already a little over, so what do you got in the ball pit today?
All right, let's do the ball pit today. Really quickly. So Boeing inspired this ball pit today. I went through and I wanted to look at all of the publicly traded companies in the United States and see how many of them had CEO chair combinations, just like Dennis Muhlenberg used to have, right? Because I just felt a little bad. I was like, is he part of a huge club that now he's no longer can be a part of? So there are about 2,400 companies that I looked at. Of those 2,400 companies.
Let me interrupt you a second. CEO chair combination means a single person who holds the titles of both CEO and chairwoman.
That is correct. That is correct. One person holds both titles.
One person. Go ahead.
So out of the 2,400 companies in the United States that you can buy on publicly traded markets, there's probably more that you can buy, but that's the biggest of them. 827 of them, about third?
Yeah, it is.
A third of the market has a combined CEO chair in the U.S.
That's more than I would have thought. All right.
This is a very U.S.-centric thing. In most other countries, they don't have any, really. It's not a really big thing. But in the U.S., CEOs love to be chairs. So, Dennis,
they do. Yeah.
I'm really sorry about this. But there's more to it than that. Okay. Because it's not just the CEO and chair that made Boeing so unique. They also were one of 365 companies that had flagged or overboarded directors. Now, flagged or overboarded directors basically means a member of the board sits on a lot of other boards, like too many to even pay attention.
Exactly.
And or they've been flagged for sitting on other boards that sucked. They all went through bankruptcies. Yeah.
So suckage or too much of a time commitment.
So Boeing, here you are.
Yeah.
365 of the 827 companies. Also, you belong to this elite club of double suckage.
Okay.
But it goes farther than that. This is a drill down, right?
Triple suckage.
I'm going to get to quintuple suckage in a second.
I like it. Okay.
There were 99 companies that had a combined CEO chair, flagged and overboarded directors, and entrenched boards. Entrenched boards mean they've been sitting on that board for like decades. Like these are old, slovenly white men who love the page. I don't know if they're slovenly. I know that they have to be old.
Old, male, and stale.
That's old, male, and stale. This is a great one. 99 fit that criteria. 54 had combined CEO chair, flagged overboarded directors, entrenched directors, and shareholders were like, wow, these guys are terrible. They voted against pay for the CEO, or they voted against the directors even getting to keep their chair.
Good. I like it.
And in the super elite. Now, Boeing meets none of this super elite criteria. The super elite companies, there were 6 of them.
Boeing is one of them?
Boeing is not one of these. Okay. Dennis Muhlenberg took Boeing off the super elite track of suckage by losing his chair role. So now we have 6 companies where all of these things apply. Plus, we're going to add one more super layer of suckage. You, the shareholder, your vote doesn't matter because they have different share classes and different voting structures. So you file your vote and basically they can ignore it. Those 6 companies, the super elite, within them. I want you to look on your wrist right now, Damian Rollis.
My eRosary?
Are you Are you wearing an eRosary brought to you by Movado, the watch company?
Yes.
Because if you are, you have maximized your super elite suckage.
Oh, here we go.
The 6 companies include Watsco. Don't know who they are. iStar, not really sure who they are. No. PBF Energy, Colony Capital, no one's heard of them. Movado you've heard of. And then
Yeah.
the creme de
Ooh.
la creme,
Yeah, yeah.
Madison Square Garden.
Oh, everyone's least favorite company. I like it.
Everyone, so not only basketball fans, can you watch your team get shred in free agency every single year, but we can cap it off by knowing it's the suckiest corporate governance structure I could find.
I think you're trying to say the Knicks suck. All right. I like it, Matt. And for those of you who are listening to our podcast version of the show at home, please go to our website and look at this beautiful graphic that Matt created.
Freefloatmedia.com. It's all going to be up there. Thanks, everybody.
Good Monday, Matt. I'll
Good
talk
Monday.
to you tomorrow.
We'll talk tomorrow.